Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Business Over Brew podcast. My name is Ellie. I will be your host for the day once again. Today, I'm sitting down with owner of His Image Productions, Branden Licardie. Branden, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having
How are
me.
you doing today?
So far, so good. It's
So
been
far, so
running
good.
down all day.
I know.
We made it.
I know. Beginning of the week. It's Monday.
Yeah, it's been wild. It really has.
Well, we're off to a good start to the week. Well, thanks for coming to the studio. I'm excited for your episode today.
Me too.
I always like to start the show with a little segment called Business in a Nutshell. It's like an icebreaker, but I'm not necessarily asking you, so what's your favorite color?
Okay.
Um,
Like the first 21 questions of like getting to meet somebody.
right. So just a couple like quick fire questions. First one being, what do you think was your aha moment that inspired the idea behind His Image Production? Did you have an aha moment?
Well, yes.
Yes.
Yes, but it's like it didn't come from the most positive situation.
Okay.
Which we could possibly touch on
Okay,
later.
sure.
But it came down to not allowing someone else to be in control
Mhm.
of the future
Sure.
that holds like within me and my family.
Mhm.
Basically is what it was in a nutshell.
Yeah, I got you.
know yeah
Yeah. No, you're good. That
I
makes
did-
sense. It makes
yeah,
sense. And if you want to, we can dive into that later.
yeah
Or
we
if-
could circle back to it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
But it's been a journey.
Mhm.
I've been freelancing for quite some time.
Right.
I'm 31 now.
Mhm.
I've had a camera in my hand since I was 14 years
Mhm.
old, and then also editing. And so, of course, like I started out at birthday parties, just basically anyone that would let me
Sure.
shoot. You know what I mean? But it
Absolutely.
really started out as we went to a family function. Well, actually, a family vacation,
Okay.
and there was the Sony handy cams.
Oh,
back in the
yeah.
flip out screens,
Mhm.
cameras, and stuff like that. So I ended up really like no one really knew how to work it.
Okay.
So from the time that we left St. Louis
Mhm.
and made it to Florida,
Right.
I had learned how to push record, and then it
Mhm.
was on since then.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody else had a turn with like holding the camera and
Right.
recording things.
Right.
But it was kind of one of those things that just stuck with me ever
Mhm.
since then, and has traveled along with me and
Right.
became like an extension of me.
Totally. And my other question in Business in a Nutshell is, if His Image Productions were to be a movie, TV show, song, album, what would it be? What's the vibe?
What would it be?
Like my example is, I always say Big Z is definitely giving The Office, the show The Office.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
if that helps.
Just basically the grind, trials and
Yeah.
tribulations, really like the ups and downs of the journey of an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
freelancer, everything that has to go along with that,
Mhm.
really.
Right. That makes sense a lot. So now like transitioning a little bit more into learning about you, and then we'll get into more about His Image Productions. I always love asking this question. Business owners seem to always have answers all across the board. Where did the name for this business come from?
So His Image Productions actually became a vision in a sense of we're faith driven
Right.
company,
Mhm.
and I wanted to figure out a way that how I could utilize, because it's been a part of me like throughout for quite some time now.
Right.
I didn't really grow up in a religious family,
Okay.
and it was something that came to me on
Hmm.
its own. So I feel like it was a way of honoring as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were all created in His image.
Right.
And so I believe that others' stories
Mhm.
deserve spotlight.
Absolutely.
Even when others like don't believe that they have a good story, or maybe it wasn't like a good story,
Mhm.
but sometimes even in the midst of chaos and bad stories, there's light.
Mhm.
And to be able to showcase that, and it also is, I've noticed one of the things that I care about the most is like, besides money, when it comes down to like the actual craft of it,
Mhm.
is being able to take somebody that doesn't believe in themselves and show them in a different light.
Right.
And then just to see them, like, so let's say with a client, she didn't believe that she was pretty, you know what I mean? She was a good looking woman, in her own ways, as much as anybody, you know what I mean?
Right.
We
We're
all
all
have our
different.
flaws.
Totally.
And so to be able to showcase her in a way that she was like, I didn't really want to be on camera, didn't,
Mhm.
and I was like, just let's just do it, you know what I mean? Let's get you comfortable.
Right.
And it ended up when I delivered the product, basically the
Right.
video to her, she
Mhm.
just lit up, you know what I mean? Just glowing.
Mhm.
And you could see her in a whole different way. And still to this day, you know what I mean? She walks with like a little bit of more confidence. And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. It's really just showcasing others and their stories. So
Mhm.
because we were all creating in his image,
Mhm.
and we all deserve spotlight, you
Right.
know? And so even when you don't think that you do, sometimes you just got to be shown in a different light.
No, absolutely, and that makes so much sense. I'm interested to hear more about the types of work that you have done with clients in the past or projects that you are working on. Like, what can you share about his image productions to those that maybe aren't familiar or haven't heard of you guys quite yet?
Okay, so his image productions, we
Mhm.
deal with, of course, social media that has been blowing up
Oh,
since
yeah.
like the last decade in a
Mhm.
sense. So you know what I mean. So it would be foolish not to dive into that world as well, which I've been in quite some time, and so we strive on creating high quality content,
Mhm.
not following trends, but creating the trend. You know
Right.
what I mean, standing out above all. And then we don't like to be followers; we like to be trendsetters. So
Mhm.
that's one of the things when we come to social media is that being creative
Mhm.
and coming up and being able to showcase others brands
Mhm.
in their way, and not like we all can do dances, we all can do, you know, the fun stuff,
Sure.
and it's needed, you know what I mean, to
Mhm.
grab and take attention and
Mhm.
engagement, definitely okay with that, but to showcase them as a whole, you know what I mean? So we like to set trends. And then also we as on the production end of it,
Mhm.
everything we have directors, shout out Naomi, executive producer, shout out Leo,
Yep.
and then we also have Cody Parker, who is a stunt director, and
Oh,
then also
man.
Brennan with TKO Productions.
Yeah.
So he like deals with a lot of fighting. So we also dive into films,
Mhm.
and we actually, well, I'm set to shoot another film here in spring. Shout out Naomi again with her newest project that she has going on, and we like to bring creative minds together
Absolutely.
because we all have our own independent,
Mhm.
like we all have just our thing that we do, and that's what
Right.
makes us who we are.
Mhm.
And that's great because his image productions, we all deserve to have our story shown and stuff like
Totally.
that. So we bring like-minded individuals together
Mhm.
to create masterpieces.
Right.
And Naomi actually brought this project to me to be the DOP on, which I'm honored. We actually
Nice.
just had her previous film that
Mhm.
she directed and screenwrote, and went to the Berryville Film Festival.
Yes. Yep.
And
I saw that.
so it took best editing, and then it
Mhm.
also took best cinematography.
Right.
And so from that was an aha moment, I guess, and
Mhm.
for myself to like, because we all have those, what's that imposter syndrome.
Yes.
You know, it's
Totally.
like
That makes
especially
sense.
late at night when you're just like
Mhm.
laying in bed, you don't really know, and especially with the entrepreneurial lifestyle,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like anytime I leave a job,
Mhm.
especially if it's not like on a retainer base,
Right.
it's a one-off job,
Mhm.
I'm unemployed,
Mhm.
you know, and it's like, okay, so where's the next one coming in?
Right.
The bills don't stop.
Oh,
The
yeah.
jobs can dry up though.
Mhm.
And so at that point in time when I walked on stage to get the best cinematography award
Mhm.
along with Naomi, you know, she because she edited it,
Right.
and so she was able to take that plaque home,
Mhm.
and so that was awesome.
Yeah, that is sick.
It was kind of one of those just like, you know, this is what I'm meant to do,
Mhm.
and I have the skill set to do it, and I kind of proved myself
I was about to
right.
say, did you need a little of that validation, which in this case it was a physical award, to kind of change your mindset about being like, wait a minute, I can be extremely successful in this line of work? Did you need that push almost
To
and that
say
type
that
of
I
validation?
to say that like no, that I always believed in myself, which I
Mhm.
did,
Right.
would be like sort of like misled
Okay.
because I did.
Mhm.
It was something about it that was like, I have a lot of supporters and a lot of friends
Mhm.
and family members, of course, that support what I do.
Mhm.
They say that I'm good. I believe that I'm good.
Right.
And it was just like at that point in time, it was like, you know what? I
Mhm.
proved myself right in a
Yep.
sense. So yes, I guess basically that
Yeah.
answer would be yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
pretty
it's
much.
nice, you know,
Definitely.
it allowed me to keep pushing
Mhm.
because when that award came, it came at a time where I was lost, you know,
Yeah.
and I just didn't. It's funny because I was talking to Julia about she owns JB Talent. She's a talent agency.
Okay.
So Southern Missouri is like really big for films. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Especially Southern Missouri, Northern Arkansas. It's
Right.
huge down there, and I spent a lot of time out there as well.
Mhm.
I grew up in St. Louis off
Okay.
Active Ridge and 170.
Yeah.
And just since I was born in Chicago, raised in St. Louis, and then you know what I mean. As I gotten older, we strayed ways and just
Right.
finding myself.
Mhm.
And so there's a I was talking to her before even the film festival,
Mhm.
and I was just like, I'm so happy that, because you know, within a film festival, it's like, okay, the rounds, it's like
Okay.
the nominations and
Right.
everything like that. Okay,
Right.
you went to the next round.
Mhm.
This is what's been voted on for best cinematography, best
Mhm.
editing, best micro short, best short film, and everything. And so it just, daylight continued to keep being pushed forward,
Hmm.
and there was just like a little bit of something that, I mean, that was like, keep going, you know what I
Okay.
mean? But there came a point where I was like, I think I'm just gonna sell off my gear.
Mm.
And you know, and it was because I still had to deal with personal life.
Right.
You know, the bills didn't keep, they didn't stop.
Mhm.
Even though that the film was in the film festival, that doesn't mean my personal life, you know
Mhm.
what I mean, stopped.
Mhm.
And I almost didn't go to the film festival,
Hmm.
but I ended up was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take the drive.
I'm
And it
gonna
was
do
down in
it.
Arkansas.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm glad that I did.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Now I can't imagine your day to day looks the same, right?
No, not at all.
What does it look like? What is a typical day for you?
I don't really know if I have a typical day.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
it's basic. Let's just say, like on a non-shoot day,
Sure.
I wake up.
Mhm.
So I intermittent fast,
Okay.
and so I really struggle in the mornings
Mhm.
with like not trying to eat,
Right.
and coffee first thing in the morning. Of course, I gotta have coffee, and then uh, either the gym,
Okay.
or if it's not a shoot day, then you can find me on my computer.
Right.
Like
Right.
I guess that would be a typical day
Mhm.
for me, is that if I'm not shooting and the camera's not in my hands,
Mhm.
then there's a project running on my computer that I'm editing,
Sure.
or potentially looking at new opportunities with
Mhm.
other people that I believe that they could be pushed forward in a sense.
Sure.
But then, you know, reaching out, just
Right.
maintaining relationships that I already have
Mhm.
with business owners, and also
Absolutely.
friendships.
Yes.
So that's a big thing.
Mhm.
Being able to, work life
Mhm.
takes over.
Oh yeah.
It like
Oh yeah.
I have friends that, which my circle has really shrank.
Condensed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have a couple friends that I've known since like 5th grade,
Mhm.
and those we pick up as soon as we see each other. You know,
Yes.
and so those are like lifetime long
Mhm.
relationships that I never really have to worry about if we're in good standing, because I
Right.
know that we're in good
Right.
standing, you know. But there's a couple other friends that like want to go out and do the clubbing,
Mhm.
or the going out and doing something
Mhm.
that has nothing to do with like productivity,
Yep.
but it's just for straight pleasure.
Mhm.
I have a hard time doing that.
Okay.
I have a hard time disconnecting
Mhm.
from anything that's not productive,
Mhm.
in a sense, because I have a goal,
Yes.
you know, and I have a lot of people relying on me as well.
Oh yeah.
You know, I have a son.
Mhm.
He just turned 6, and back in May, well, he's actually coming up on. He's about to be 7. That's wild.
Yeah.
Time flies.
I know.
Yeah. So
It really
that's
does.
why I'm
I
locked
know.
in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's like I have a goal. I have a lot
Right.
of people that rely on me,
Mhm.
and disconnecting from anything that's not productive, I
Right.
have a hard time. So
Mhm. And
that's
trying to
basically.
find that work-life balance too, of still maybe doing entertaining things with your boys or your friends, but also, honing in on craft.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you are very much in the creative space. I am as well with the podcast. I do a lot of other things on the side, whether that's designing apparel, product placement,
Oh, really? Nice.
collaborations, things with influencers. Like I'm all over the place in terms of like social media and the creative space. But I get burnt out quite a bit, and I lose
It exists.
passion. I lose a creative outlet, and
Mhm.
then I'm just all over the place. So what does it look like for you? How do you stay creative? Do you have other creative outlets that you use? How do you stay in that creative, inspirational mindset?
One for me, one for them.
Yeah.
Really.
Yep.
That's the best way that I can
Mhm.
say it. The gym helps a lot.
Mhm.
It,
Yeah, being active for sure.
yeah. Excuse me.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, that's whenever I just need like a release in a
Mhm.
sense. I guess that would be my best
Mhm.
thing that I've done. I've been doing CrossFit for quite
Okay.
some time. And it's just one of those another community. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Having communities outside of that, I guess.
Mhm.
But the burnout is real. And
Mhm.
I especially like when deadlines need to be met.
Oh yeah.
I'm like I believe I have a little bit of like ADHD, but I'm not really 100%
Right.
sure. But
Right.
I'll sit at a computer for like 3, 4, 5 hours at a
Mhm.
time, no problem. And then
Mhm.
every now and then it's like, oh, I gotta get up. It's like every 2 hours I find myself. So it's like
Mhm.
when it comes down to those days, it's
Mhm.
like, I just need to shut my computer off
Right.
and maybe come back to it later because that burnout's
Mhm.
it's just gonna be like make you think like I don't even want to do this anymore.
Right.
It's like what's going
Absolutely.
on?
I mean, anytime I hit those roadblocks, I'm like, wait a minute, am I doing the right thing? And it's like, yes, I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about it. And I like being in these different communities and meeting all these other entrepreneurs, trailblazers, whatever in the St. Louis area. But definitely I do feel like burnout is becoming it's happening more.
Yeah.
And I'm recognizing it. And that is, as you're saying, a great time to just, all right, let's just close the computer for now. Let's walk away. Let's go do something. I got to get my mind elsewhere that's not just honing in on, got to finish this deck because I got to send it over because we have a deadline at the end of this week and we need to do this and this and this. So I totally get that. So what is it like being a business owner and in having a team of people with you? How is that?
Well, there's a lot of weight
Mm-hmm.
that you have to hold on your
Right.
shoulders, but I'm kind of used to it in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. It's kind of like one of those things that, like, growing up, I have a lot of brothers, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and
Okay.
sister. Growing up,
Mm-hmm.
my sister passed away, so that's why I kind of choked up on that.
Mm-hmm.
I come from a big family.
Right.
I'm the second. My sister was the oldest.
Okay.
Then it went me,
Mm-hmm.
and then 3 other brothers
Oh
underneath
wow.
me. So it was just kind of like, and then you know what I mean. My pops was always working. My
Mm-hmm.
mom was always working.
There was always some sort of responsibility on your
Yeah.
shoulders. Yep.
So it's basically I'm used to it,
Okay.
but then you have to understand that like there are lives in your hand,
Mm-hmm.
and you want the best for them
Mm-hmm.
always. So sometimes I end up like sacrificing
Okay.
a little bit just to see others succeed,
Mm-hmm.
but it always comes back to me,
Yeah.
like no matter what. So it makes it easier, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love being able to like help others along their journey,
Oh yes.
and
Yep.
so that's one of the biggest things that like who I am. I
Mm-hmm.
guess like when my day is done, like when I take my last breath,
Yep.
I want to be known for how much of an impact that I made on others.
Right.
Because it's not really about me,
Right. At the end of the day, it's really not.
And I think that came down from having responsibility of my little brothers as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not really about me. I learned that at an early age.
Right.
So uh, I enjoy it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But it's stressful.
Definitely.
It is. And then also having to make decisions,
Mm.
and even because I'm smart, but I'm not like really smart. You know what I mean? So it's like
Don't say that.
I could be messing this up.
Sure.
But I always
But said every other business owner, like
100%.
I could definitely be messing this up, but I'm gonna go ahead with it anyway.
Yeah, you gotta take risks.
Yeah.
That's another thing
Mhm.
about being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And then is knowing calculated risks.
Mm.
That's being foolish and
Mhm.
just like jumping off the deep end isn't really the best like
Right.
business strategy.
Mhm.
But when it comes down to like calculated risks, like okay, I've been around the block a few times.
Sure.
I know that this is going to
Yes.
work. Where are we going to go wrong? That's
Mm.
one of the first questions that I
Mhm.
try to ask myself. It's like, what could go wrong?
Okay.
And it's usually never that. It's always something else.
Right.
So being able to adjust and
Mhm.
doing it quickly is probably a good character trait.
Sure, because
So
I was gonna ask you, like, what advice would you have for somebody that wants to either A, get into this type of industry in general, or B, even open up their own business similar to yours? Have you had like learned any major lessons, or have you even been given like really great or strong advice that it's like, oh, I want other young entrepreneurs to know this as well before they start a business?
don't go into it expecting everything to go smooth. That it
Mhm.
enjoy the struggle.
Hmm.
Um, find peace in the storm.
Mhm.
Because like I just previously stated, it was normally the things that I think is going to go wrong that I prepare for ain't-
Don't.
are not what goes wrong.
Mhm.
And so it's don't have high expectations of everything to go smoothly.
Okay.
Be prepared. Go in it with a mental head. It's like no matter what comes my way,
Right.
I'm gonna figure it out,
Mhm.
and that's life.
Right.
It doesn't even outside of business. It's
Mhm.
like you can get up in the morning and um, be on your way to work
Mhm.
in a snowstorm. You get a flat tire.
Mhm.
Well, being able to adjust, you didn't
Mhm.
expect like your tank's on E. You knew that was an issue.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But you weren't ready for the flat tire.
Mhm.
Are you a person that's gonna handle it yourself,
Right.
or are you gonna call on somebody else? It's not bad to phone a friend. You
Mhm.
know what I
Oh,
mean?
not at all.
Everybody needs friends, but can you be the person that adjusts quickly?
Mhm.
And just understand that things will go wrong.
Right.
It's not.
And I feel like a theme so far for my 2025 is what it seems like is that it's the year of pivoting. And to know that if you pivot one direction, it's okay. I think sometimes I get so gung ho on going one lane and then something happens and I got to get in another lane. It's like, oh, geez, what's going on? But learning to pivot and taking that lesson and then bringing it back to the forefront has been something that I've been working on. And I'm learning a lot from saying yes, trying new things, getting away from just what I'm used to, and being comfortable with the unknown and
Yeah.
sitting in the unknown. It's like the biggest life change so far that has happened and that I'm realizing this is good. This is a good thing. The unknown is scary, but
Yeah.
it's also a really great spot to be in and be present in and take and reflect about what's going on around you.
Yeah, 100%. That
Right?
also brings up another point. It's
Hmm.
like what you had just said,
Mhm.
not to be scared to say no.
Mhm.
Also,
Mhm.
know your value, know your
Mhm.
worth, know that you are what you like. Don't devalue yourself because
Hmm.
someone else is trying to get over on you in a sense,
Okay.
or wants
Right.
to cut a break,
Sure.
or like let's say, oh well, like I'm gonna revert back to what we're talking
Yeah.
about and in the creative space. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, well, you've never shot for NASCAR before, but I do see that you have some automobile work.
Sure.
You think you could do it for half a price.
Mhm.
Well, being able to be like, listen, I understand that I've never done it for NASCAR in a
Yes.
sense,
Mhm.
but I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And understanding that, you know what I mean? So, and if they being able to say no
Mhm.
and being confident in your
Mhm.
work and just not like undervaluing what your product in a sense, what you
Right.
like your style, who you
Mhm.
are, is big
Mhm.
also. And it's hard to at first starting out, because
Right.
we find ourselves, especially I know I did, it was like a lot of free work or
Mhm.
and then sometimes it's not appreciated. You know what I mean?
I
Kind
can
of
see
like
that.
I I've done I try to steer away from like free work
Okay.
because it just seems as if like they think or others
Mhm.
believe that like they got one over on you or something, like they're above
Okay.
you because
Sure, because
and
you're
you're
offering it
right.
no
And
charge.
sometimes people are just rude.
Right.
It's just like
Mhm.
and then never really satisfied. So just being able to say no,
Yep.
you know um mind you, I will do, if I believe in the project, if I believe in someone's
Right. If
brand,
I see a future with it,
100%.
I'm taking that.
I'm definitely down to do things like pro bono in a
Yeah.
sense for the future in the long,
Mhm.
and that's came to bite me in the it's came to bite
Yep.
me too.
Mhm.
That's kind of like another thing how his image productions kind of became about,
Sure.
and I'll zip that up.
Okay.
It's not knowing, just know when to say no. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Value yourself. That's another big thing.
Yeah, that makes sense though. Where do you see his image productions going this year? Without, you don't need to disclose any like projects or anything that's going on in that way, but do you have a goal set for where you would love to see you, your business, and your team by the end of 2025?
What do they do at the end of the Super Bowl? We're going to Walt Disney World or something.
Is that
We're going to Walt Disney World. No,
That's funny.
I want.
Or what are you working on this year?
Yeah, so
Mhm.
we have a couple films like I previously was talking
Right.
about that's in the works.
Mhm.
We're locking in retainer clients.
Yep.
And then what I want to see his image. So I've taken on a really like documentaries.
Ooh.
I wanna
Mhm.
get a little deeper into that.
Mhm.
I feel like it's more intimate.
Yes.
I feel like it definitely has pulled on my heart.
Mhm.
It's,
Same. Yeah.
it's in the way of I don't want everything to be revolved around money.
Mhm.
And so I actually am. I have a couple people that I have going some projects running.
Yep.
That is going to allow us to step into that
Okay.
realm.
That's exciting.
And so that's another thing that I want to be known for.
Yeah.
The company as a whole
Mhm.
and documentaries, because I just feel like films are great.
Films are great.
Films are great.
Mhm.
Social media is great.
Mhm.
But with documentaries, it's more or less we're not acting anymore. It's
Right.
like
This is
straight
real.
raw.
Mhm. And authentic and
yeah.
genuine. Absolutely.
And it's those projects that bring the
Mhm.
most like satisfaction
Right.
to said client.
Right. And not even that, those viewing, I mean, majority of the documentaries
100%.
I've watched are so moving. And you think about it. It's not something that you just watch and then it's gone forever, but like it sits in the back of your mind and you think about it and you think about how that relates to me or to the people I'm around, my community. But that'd be super exciting to see you and your team really start getting into documentaries, because I think those also have such an influence on communities, on people, on those that are watching it online.
Yeah.
Documentaries are really awesome.
Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
it's definitely right in line with like what his image stands for.
Right.
But also it's like true to my heart. Because
Totally.
there's so many creatives in the St. Louis area.
Mhm.
There's like and I've met a lot of great
Yeah.
ones. I don't want to start naming off ones because I don't want people to be like, oh, I'm not a great one. But there's so much talent in St. Louis.
I know.
That
it needs to be showcased.
Yeah,
I know. Like there's so many, like what you're saying, so many creative people. I've lived in St. Louis my entire life.
Okay, nice.
And like similar to you, like I've met a lot of them, I've hung out with a lot of them, but nobody is showcasing and giving them a platform to show St. Louis and surrounding areas like, hey, I'm here and this is what we're doing and you should be involved in it, or you should know about me.
There's gonna be a lot more popping up now that we're talking about. Watch.
I mean,
that's good,
you're probably
though.
right.
That's good though. There's plenty. Everybody can eat.
I know.
There's so much going on in this area,
Mhm.
and showing St. Louis area in a different light as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Because for for quite some time now, it hasn't been the best talked about place. But there's so many great people here.
I know.
And so
the creatives here are top tier, like extremely creative.
Yeah.
And almost people that you would be passing or walking along the street and you wouldn't even expect it.
Right.
And they're like a mastermind with marketing or social media. But that brings me up to my next point. I know we've briefly touched on social media, marketing, but how much does that play into your business with his image productions?
On the marketing side?
Yep.
So I really wouldn't necessarily say that we dive hardcore into marketing.
Okay.
But they go hand in hand.
I know.
So it's like I want the marketers to do what they do best.
Right.
But the content that we create, we help market.
Right.
100%. You know what I mean? The posting, and also it's more or less like in a consulting in a way, like creatively.
Yes.
What can we do? How can I'm all about doing events.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh,
bringing
me
engagement,
too.
like
Mm-hmm.
pure relationships, not more like even outside of just the social media
Right.
comment section.
Right.
Building real relationships,
Absolutely.
lasting relationships
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm really big on.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing that in a creative consultant way with the brands that we work with, and
Mm-hmm.
then also some of the clients, and then even the one-off jobs. I'll take phone calls even to this day of
Yeah.
people that I've worked with years ago and be like, hey, could you just kind of give me a little few pointers on like what we should do?
Right.
And 100%. It's not a our relationship isn't based on a transactional
Right. Right.
relationship. I'm more than willing to help out others along their journey, even if like they're in a better spot than me, but I
Mm-hmm.
know more about the situation or like social media in a
Right.
sense. If I know more about it and they call me, I'm like, all right, well, this call is going to be $150,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what I mean. For
Mm-hmm.
this consulting, it's like, what's up, man? What's
Right.
going on?
Right.
And it always comes back to me. You know, they had always so on. We market our own. We help the clients that we work with
Sure.
market their like content,
Right.
but I wouldn't necessarily just take on a client for marketing, if that makes sense.
Okay. No, that does.
So like if we're not shooting the content
Mm-hmm.
and if we're not the ones in like the rooms
Mm-hmm.
coming up with the concepts,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for me to be like, yeah, this is gonna work, this is gonna work, and this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Let us do all your marketing for
Mm-hmm.
you. It comes down to the relationship. I want it to
Yeah.
be more on a sense of, well, let's sit down, let's have a lunch. You know what I mean? Let's
Mm-hmm.
come up with a concept, let's shoot it, and then I'm gonna help you push it. I'm gonna help you post it on a,
Right.
you know what I mean? And then we're gonna be consistent with it too. Our
Mm-hmm.
systems that we have in place are pretty nice. Kind of they're kind of running by themselves, but it took a while to get there.
Oh yeah.
But it's great. Everything's in house.
Mm-hmm.
We don't send anything off to. Everything's in house.
Right.
And that makes a big difference. It
I
really
would agree.
does.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could call me, and especially I'm an editor. I enjoy editing.
Okay.
You know,
See, I don't love it. It's too meticulous for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love like cinematography, and
Mm-hmm.
I love editing too. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just be able to come up with like making a whale come
Yeah.
up out of the sky.
Yeah.
In a Sahara desert. Like
Uh-huh.
it's kind of cool. Like I don't know. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So we market for our clients,
Right.
but we won't just take on a client if it's straight marketing.
Mm-hmm. But then in terms of you all doing your marketing for the business, you don't really. Do you feel like you don't really need to, or you just still kind of post your own organic things as they come?
We like to stay organic.
Yep.
And a lot of a business that does come
Mm-hmm.
is referral based.
Okay.
So
That was a follow up.
It's always nice to have that. Do we need to get better? Would I be opposed to like hiring a marketing company
Mm-hmm.
just to specifically market his image productions? No,
Mm-hmm.
because I have a lot of things going on already that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like I'm worried about you guys,
Right.
like the clients,
Right.
I'm
Exactly.
worried about them, especially with everyone that I already have, and also like freelancing too.
Oh yeah.
So of course if something comes my way from another production company, I'm going to take it. You
Mm-hmm.
know? And I've met a lot of there's a lot of great people, creatives in general. You know what I mean? A lot of great companies within the St. Louis area.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Mark and Emma at Emmy Media.
Okay. Yeah.
I've built a great relationship with them. Love them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're awesome. There's another media company they are based out of Winsfield.
Okay.
So they're doing great work. And it's just. Basically,
You got it.
It was like I'm so worried about helping other people
Mm-hmm.
that my own personal marketing for the
Mm-hmm.
business kind of ends
Mm-hmm.
up like just back shelf, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
on the back burner.
But again, that's a common denominator amongst many business owners. They're like, that's like the last thing on my to-do list that never gets checked off.
Right.
Is going on Instagram or going on Facebook and posting a picture. So to that point, makes a lot of sense. You have a lot of other things that you need to get done and prioritize before you even
100%.
think about your own.
Yeah, that's where that burnout
advertising
comes too. That's where that comes into play. It's like, okay, I've done this all day, but I haven't done nothing for the business.
Yes.
Or I haven't done nothing for myself.
Right.
Like, I don't even feel like posting.
I know. I'm just not going to do it today.
I've I find it easier just like to post stories.
Okay.
So I'm like,
I mean, yeah,
I've
stories.
been trying to be better with like my own personal content.
Like being more front facing. Would you
Mhm.
say? I like
Yeah.
that.
So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna post
Mm-hmm.
stories because like I've been editing all day and I don't really feel like I'm not really comfortable. That's not the word. I don't
Okay.
really feel like I make my own content right now, my own
Right.
personal content. Since I was worried about everybody else, but
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. So
Yeah.
stories are like real easy. Go.
Definitely. I know. You walked in here, you started doing all this. I'm like,
I
man,
do
he's
that.
on
I do it
it.
everywhere I
He's
go.
on
I love
it.
showcasing other people's stuff.
Me too.
I
I mean,
really do.
that's one of the beauties of this podcast is that like I really do just get to sit down with just about anybody and
Nice.
pick their brain for 30-ish minutes, ask them a bunch of questions, learn about themselves personally and their business because in my opinion, like I always value learning about the business owner as a separate from the business. Like
Right.
let me actually get to know you. What do you like? How did this come about? Was this always in the cards for you? Like it's always just very interesting hearing people's journeys.
Right.
And I think that's where you and I, we both see eye to eye about showcasing that type of authenticness and being genuine and being like, all right, let's be honest, let's be real, transparent. Like, tell me who you are,
Yeah.
essentially,
100%.
and tell me about your business and how
Yeah.
it came about.
My
Um,
also like
yeah.
it this is a family owned business as well.
This,
Yeah. Well, his image production.
yeah, I was gonna say, Big Z.
My brother is a huge part of it as well.
Right. Yes, we did talk about that.
So yeah, it's not going back to other people. It's
I
not all
know.
about me, but
I
like
know. What's his role? How does he come into play?
so he's like a great in sales.
Sales?
Yeah.
Heck
And
yeah.
he's like good with marketing as
Mm-hmm.
well. Knowing like what's trending, what's not.
Right.
He also he's a better seller than me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a sales guy.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's funny because my brother's a salesman,
Mm-hmm.
and he's really good to like, especially with like door to door sales.
Oh wow.
It's like top tier.
Take some
Yeah,
courage.
he was. Yeah, you ain't lying.
Yeah.
He's a savage. I tell you, he doesn't care. Like he's good with B2B and
Yeah.
everything. So that's kind of his side of it.
Mm-hmm.
He is creative himself.
Right.
Uh, he's just better with I guess the relationships with the client.
Sure.
On the business
Right.
side, I'm more or less like personal, I guess, in a sense, just like what's going on, how's the kids,
Right.
and everything like that.
Mhm.
He's a straight shooter, and
Yeah.
so I love that about him. He's actually right now, he's he's actually in Peru right now on a mission trip.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
that's another reason why he wasn't able to.
I was about to
make
say,
it here
yeah.
because it just so happens how everything calendar wise
Sure.
fell.
Sure.
He's in Peru right now.
That's crazy.
And they are building.
Yeah, what are they up
The
to?
mission that he's on is, I guess, for some odd reason, it's like the government. And
Okay.
don't let me lie to you, because
Okay.
this is coming like third hand right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess if a civilization or a village
Mhm.
doesn't have a public area that they consider like a dwelling or
Yep.
something like that,
Yep.
they won't provide food.
Mhm.
So they have to have something
Yes.
within the community that they can provide
Right.
food. They have to have that.
You're right. You're right.
And so they're out there building
Mhm.
this park for them,
That's
basically
amazing.
a public area that
Yep.
the government will now step in to help
Mhm.
and for the village.
How long is he going to be there?
So he's been out there. He went out there last week, and I think
Wow.
they're gonna come back out. He's gonna come home at some point at the end of this week.
That's awesome though.
Yeah,
That's
so
really cool.
He's a great kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
He really is.
Sounds a lot like it. Well, I guess as we start to wrap up the show, I always like to end more on like a fun ending, fun vibe. I don't know. I hate the word vibe.
Okay.
I wish there was another synonym for it out there. But what do you think you would be doing if you were not running his image productions? Would it still be something in the creative space? Do you think you would have the more traditional route of a typical 9 to 5?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing with his image productions and then the other companies that I freelance for,
Sure.
and then also I guess it would be like, so I come from a construction background.
Okay.
I'm a welder.
Yep.
So that's another thing for entrepreneurs. Is
Yeah.
like not really have something to fall back
Right.
on.
I knew you were going to say not to have a fallback,
but be skilled.
Mhm.
You know, like
Mhm.
bring value to the table.
Right.
I could hop on the pipeline right now if I really wanted to.
Mhm.
And then that's where it comes down to. It's like, I guess I would be doing a 9 to 5, but something
Okay.
about it is just like, it's not me. I
Mhm.
did it for so long.
Mhm.
I was running cameras and doing the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Then I entered into just straight going full time.
Right.
When I moved back out to the St. Louis area,
Mhm.
a couple things went south on that end,
Sure.
which allowed me to basically just never be put in a situation again.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so but I was like, I'm not gonna go back to the 9 to 5.
I hear that.
There's something in me that's
Mhm.
just, I don't have nothing against it by no
Right.
means, but because I know we need it. but
Yes.
I guess I would.
Personally, I just can't get boxed in.
Yeah,
I
I'd probably
hate
be
being.
welding.
Mhm. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So for those listening and tuning in, where can they find you online? You on Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, we're on all the socials and
Yeah.
everything like that. For sure.
Mhm.
Of course, Instagram at his.imageproductions.
Mhm.
And then you can contact me directly at either Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm over here thinking.
You're fine.
Either Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
On Instagram, it's Branden Licardie DP. That's BrandenLicardie.
Mhm.
And then DP right after that.
Mhm.
I have like a purple photo. Shout out Naomi. She took it on actually one of the first films that we were on. This is for the kids. It
That's
was
cool.
we were shooting a concept for that.
Mhm.
That's supposed to be getting set to shoot a
Mhm.
feature length film as well. And then Branden Licardie, first name, last name on Facebook.
Yeah. There you go, everybody. I'll have that, all of those usernames and links and all the good stuff is all going to be linked down below. Branden, thanks so much for coming in and chit-chatting with me for a little bit. And to all of you listening, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Business Over a Brew. And looks like I'll be seeing you sometime soon. All right. Bye.
Bye.